Neptunia has become one of my favorite gaming franchises, and there is so much available on handhelds. Even with the PS Vita long and gone, the likes of the Steam Deck can play pretty much all of them. The Rebirth Trilogy, Mega Dimension, and all the new stuff. The Sisters game just came out on Switch recently, and while playing and reviewing that, I thought we could take another look at the PC version. Let's dive into my results of how Neptunia Sisters vs. Sisters runs on the Steam Deck. For a brief summary, this is an action RPG that takes place after Mega Dimension, having Nepgear and the other candidates venturing across the world to fight an obsession over smartphones and trendy outbreaks. Now, as far as launch options go, Proton does help the game a bit, but it depends on what version you use. I'm currently running the game on Proton 7-30. It brings the frame rate up a bit, though it's worth noting that using newer or older ones like 8 or Experimental do not provide the same effects, so I had to experiment with several to find out what did and didn't improve the game. Once you get in, it's a weird situation. Graphical settings do impact performance, but only when the game is stressed. I can easily just hop between low, normal, and high and get the same FPS range when running around dungeons like Virtua Forest. It's just when you do transitions and specific combat things that you'll see drops. And the reason for that seems to be that the graphic presets don't do much. I looked at the same area on low, normal, and high, and nothing looked like it changed at all. I even restarted the game and it looked exactly the same as before. It's more changing the resolution that really alters the visuals. You can do a wide variety of things with the resolution, all the way down to the lowest setting where the game is really blurry, but to be perfectly honest, even doing that does not give you a perfect 60 FPS. You're still gonna get drops into the 50s with that low, horrible resolution, so you might as well just use 720 and have it look good. With this in mind, the frame rate you're going to be getting in the smaller and more interior dungeons will be a nice 60 FPS, but when you get to the larger dungeons, which make up most of this game's environments, it'll range more 45 to 60. But the real killer here for frame rate is shockingly the world map. That's right, the 2D artwork world map with very light cloud animations will cause the frame rate to tank down into the 30s and even the 20s. But let's get back to the dungeons and combat. Obviously, we want stability, and for 60 FPS, that's just not happening. Even when you drop the resolution down to its lowest value, as I said earlier, you'll still get occasional drops into the 50s. What I typically do is keep the resolution at 720 and lock the deck down to 40 FPS. The world map will still drop it into the 30s and 20s, but the actual gameplay will be a stable 40. And that's pretty much all I have for performance. So let's go into battery life, and these tests were done with the 40 FPS lock turned on. With higher brightness, you can get between 2 and 2.5 hours of overall time, while lower brightness will increase that to about 3 hours. Now to wrap this up, would I recommend Neptunia Sisters vs. Sisters to Steam Deck users? I think I would. You can get a nice and mostly consistent 40 FPS if you do your settings just right. It might not give a perfect 60, but 40 is still a great result for a game that is still pretty new. And that's all I have for you today. I'll be back soon with more Steam Deck coverage and reviews. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.